So here's a thought exercise. If every factory on Earth shut down for 24 hours, I think there would be chaos. But if GitHub, app stores, the cloud, APIs vanished for 24 hours, modern business stops. That's how much value has shifted to digital. One statistic to frame this thesis is that global corporate intangible value, which is software, data, IP, brands, has hit a staggering 79.4 trillion in 2024, and that's an all-time high. And get this, above tangible assets for large firms. My name is Ted Koka. Welcome to the Winners Win podcast. Today I want to talk about why the world runs or now runs on intangibles and what the 5 power moves are for you to win in this digital economy. Okay, the fact is digital now outweighs physical in market value. The assets that investors prize now are code, content, data, and networks. In trade, physical goods still sort of dominate the overall dollars and rands, as it were, but digital is compounding, and it is compounding super fast. Also, digitally delivered services are now, and they sort of now make up for more than half of the total sort of trade service totals, and rising very quickly. To sort of clarify the numbers a little bit more, and I'm referring specifically from a corporate value lens. Intangibles are at a record high amongst the world's largest organizations. So think again, software, data, patents, brand, code, network effects, and that type of digital distribution. From a trading lens, the global trade in goods and services is about 32.2 trillion in 2024. The services takes up 27.2%, with digitally delivered services being the fastest growing part of that segment and now account for 55% of services across the globe. The bottom line is this, is that digital really is the growth engine. And even if physical still leads from a raw trade dollars point of view, this is something that everyone needs to sort of start, if you haven't already, you need to start paying attention to it. What it means for entrepreneurs, for creators, and for operators is that I think there's sort of 3 things I've thought about. The first is that sort of margins migrate to digital layers. That means that the operating systems, the data, and the distribution take all the surplus revenue, or they take all the surplus value that's being created in that economy. Physical companies must do what we call a software wrap, or most physical companies will software wrap their products. And that now becomes sort of systems, telemetry, subscriptions, data services, etc., etc. That becomes the new mode in which most even physical businesses are going to trade. And then there's an emerging markets edge where what digital does is that it lowers export frictions. When you're exporting a physical product, there's physical infrastructure that's required to get that done. But when you're exporting digital services, there is zero friction. And you can service multiple clients, brands, and systems across borders rather instantly. I think that's a massive takeout for someone who's understanding or living in this era where everything is just completely intangible, and the value is now intangible. There are 5 power moves that I think you need to take in order to build digital value in this economy. The first is productize your knowledge. Turn your repeated expertise into digital assets with clear outcomes. Turn them into templates, into playbooks, into micro-SaaS data sheets, Notion bundles, video courses, and these are things that if you're focused, you can ship in 30 days, right? That's a real recipe for you to turn your knowledge into a product, package it, put it on a platform, and get distribution for it. Number two, own your distribution. It's what we do here. It's what I've learned over time, where building a direct list is what's going to be the difference between those who win and lose. Be it on email, SMS, WhatsApp, a searchable knowledge hub really gives everyone who wants to play and win in this digital era the advantage. Treat social media as top of funnel. Like if you understand how funnels work, you're trying to get your user, your customer, your audience through a funnel. And the widest part of your funnel is social media. And then you convert those channels that you control into what we call lifetime value. All right, so all of that has an acquisition cost. Sometimes the acquisition cost is paid for. Sometimes the acquisition cost is just organic. The quickest way to lower your acquisition cost is to grow your social reach. All right, it's not easy, but it's very doable. Number three, wrap every offering in a subscription. We live in this era where everything is built for subscription. Even from a mental shift, we've changed the way we consume things. If you look at every delivery service now has a subscription for you to get or unlock a lot more value. And the thing about subscriptions is that it's almost like once you're in, there's a lot of effort required for you to exit, right? And so a lot of customers get into their subscriptions, they forget their credit cards, they're up, and you collect, and every month you're collecting, and someone's promising themselves that they're going to remove that. But if you scale that to thousands of customers who are getting value from you, I think it becomes super powerful. All right, so and just in terms of what that means, where I say wrap every offering in a subscription, sort of turn one-off services into continuity. That's one way to do it. Instead of delivering a service once, make it continuous. That can be sort of updates, office hours, data refreshes, your model or API access for those of you who play within the software spaces, members only drops, and that sort of drives recurring revenue, and for your business will lead to higher valuation multiples. Number four, license your IP, don't just sell it. That's a massive transition from what the previous sort of physical era had. In a physical era, we all just sold our IP, and then you had to sort of come up with the next thing, and then sell that thing, and then come up with the next thing and sell that thing. You no longer need to do that. One very interesting thing that I'll speak about in the next episode is how Sora is going to allow us to sort of allow people to use our IP, the imagery that we have, in order to get a share of that. And so in this context, offer team licenses, white label rights on your products, or your API access for your models and your data. And then what that leads to is really one asset, many customers, and then enterprise value for your business. Number five, automate with AI to raise your gross margins. Use AI, and I keep harping on about this. You need to test and iterate, and then build within these platforms. Use AI to drive lead generation. Sort of support your content operations. Use it for data enrichment, and then it saves you a ton of hours. I mean, the first input is heavy, but once you get that right, you'd be surprised by how much value you're unlocking by using AI. And then, of course, distribution and the moat, which are your sort of data flywheels. You combine a community as well as your data flywheel, and that becomes a recipe for success. In closing, the last decade rewarded those who built digital moats around physical activity. The next decade will reward those who build physical, resilient digital assets. That's code, content, data, and communities that travel at the speed of the internet. And if you're looking at the internet, even the speed of the internet is evolving. In another episode, I talk about how I think OpenAI, and I've said this before, I'm biased because I think it's a phenomenal product. It's got real world value. I've seen that real world value for myself. And that platform, OpenAI's ChatGPT, is fast becoming the world's distribution platform. And the most important thing from this conversation that I'd like you to take out is pick one asset that you can ship within 30 days. Ship just means you build and you deploy, make it available to the market. Whatever your audience strategy is, wherever you're reaching your audience, ship that in 30 days. Pick one channel that you can own for a long time. And I think that's how you're going to survive in this digital era. Thanks for watching this episode of Winners Win. And if you got value from this episode, please give us a like, subscribe. The more of you subscribe, the stronger our channel becomes. Help us. I think we've just passed 700 subs. So we are officially on the way to 1,000 subs. So, share in the comments what your thoughts are, how you're surviving and building in this digital era. And I'll see you in the next episode. We out.